So, welcome to another episode of Language Learning Mastery Actually Makes Still Changing and Still Looking for the Best thing. And today I have got Lindsay now, and Lindsay has some of my Facebook community groups, and we also met in the one club gathering this year, and then we were practicing Korean and other languages in that
Ah,
navigate the room.
yes,
Yes,
I
uh,
remember. Yeah.
and time flies. It has already been 5 months. So yeah, tell the audience something about yourself, your language learning history, and what got you passionate about language learning.
Oh, it's a funny question. Okay, so I first started learning languages back in primary school when I went to French club, and I only kept going. It wasn't obligatory, but I went because they gave you croissants at the end of term. So it was a good enough reason to go. And then I just had to keep on with French throughout secondary school. So from age 11 um, to 13, 14, that was the compulsory age. But when I got to choosing my GCSEs at 14, I decided that I wanted to study Spanish because of Shakira. And my school wasn't really, it didn't really have a huge language department. So to prove, if you like, that you were going to be good enough and dedicated to study Spanish or German, which they offered at that stage, you also had to study French. So I thought, why not? I'm okay at French. I'll just keep going with both of them, and it will be quite cool to speak two languages. Okay, let's do this. And then I kind of just kept up with both of them all the way through from GCSE, A level, and then further on to university study as well. Um, and it just kind of became a bigger part of my life as things went on. Um, and yeah, so then when I started with the university, the French and Spanish that were on offer were they were essentially what I just studied, the first level. So I decided, okay, I'll pick up some new languages. This is a great chance to do that. So I started with Italian and Chinese, Mandarin Chinese for a year, and then did my compulsory English linguistics year, and then went on to do the French and Spanish courses. At the same time, I also decided to pick up German. And then from there, I then went on to sort of self study a little bit with a little bit of Portuguese and Dutch, and now Japanese.
Right.
Yeah, so that's where I am today.
So you have so this year have you mostly learning Japanese or is it that?
Yeah, so right now Japanese is my kind of focus language. I've just finished with sort of university formal study and everything like that. So now it's just purely I have some time to dedicate to learning on my own terms with no exams. In fact, sort of kind of now, tomorrow, I'm starting the Add One challenge for the first time, and I'm going to do that in Japanese. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah.
I thought you have studied. I was under the impression that you have worked for a few years after university, or that is something. Yeah,
So, sorry?
I thought you had a few years between your studies, or was it just my okay? That was just my misunderstanding.
I studied between my university studies and now. Oh, no, because what I did was I studied with the Open University, so it's part-time distance learning. So it was a 6-year course, and I started like a year later, so a year later than kind of most people would go to university at 18. Um, so it's been quite a long, a long time.
Okay, cool. Did you
Yeah.
go to the polyglot conference? I don't think you did. No, you didn't.
In New York?
Yes.
No, not this one, not in New York this time. It's been a busy month. I've just launched my first online course, so I always knew October was going to be crazy. So I didn't go to New York, unfortunately.
Why don't you tell us something about your course? I was reading it on your Facebook feed, but then tell us more, tell us more.
Okay. So the course is called Mastering English Phrasal Verbs Through Story. So it's for learners of English who are either upper intermediate to advanced learners. And I feel like, and this has definitely happened to me with other languages like French and Spanish, where you get to a point where you kind of plateau and you feel just, ugh, I can communicate really well. I feel very confident and very comfortable speaking this language and understanding this language, but I know that I can go further, but I just don't know how. And I felt with when I was teaching people English, that phrasal verbs were a real way for people to get past this. You know, they were one way that people could really improve and to sound more like a native and feel more comfortable and to understand a lot more when native speakers spoke completely spontaneously. And so I thought, okay, I want to produce something to help people with this issue. But a lot of the resources that I found when I was doing some research, and it's basically just lists of, here you go, here's a list of phrasal verbs, learn it. And I was like, well, that's not very helpful, really. So what I've done is I've created a set of short stories and also phone call dialogues that all intertwine and then kind of create this one bigger story by the end of the course. So it's a lot of fun, and yeah, it's really, really exciting. I'm very, very proud of the course.
So can you give a snippet of how you take one, take your favorite English phrasal verb and then how you go about teaching it? That is okay?
Sorry?
Could you take one of your favorite English phrasal verb and then
Oh.
how you teach it in your course? If that is okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, one of my favorites. Oh,
Or maybe to explain.
that's a tough question. Okay, so today, so on Periscope, we were talking a little bit earlier about Periscope, right? Um, Throughout October, I've been doing a phrasal verb mini series, so I've been sharing one a day. So I can tell you about today's phrasal verb, for example, which was drop off. So this is one that I think completely proves why phrasal verbs are so important for people if they want to learn to communicate on a informal net basis with natives, because this has three or four, if you like, different meanings. So the first thing is that you can say drop off, meaning to take someone to a place, to drive them there, and to leave them there, perhaps to collect them later, to pick them up later. Another phrasal verb, pick someone up. So you would drop someone off. And you could also drop something off. So, for
Yeah.
example, if I go to my friend's house and I forget my coat, I might ring her up and say, oh, could you drop my coat off tomorrow morning or tonight or something? And it just means come round to my house, give me the thing, and leave. It's not come round, have a drink, watch a film, have some dinner. It's nothing like that. It's just literally come to the door, give me my coat, and go. Drop my coat off. However, you could also say if figures are decreasing, then they're dropping off. So it might be that customers are dropping off this month. Oh, the number of customers is dropping off this month. The number of views on your website is dropping off, something like that. And finally, and perhaps the most obscure, is that it could also be to fall asleep. So, if you're sitting perhaps watching a film and actually you've had a really long day, you're really tired, and you just gradually fall asleep a little bit, oh, and then you wake up, oh, sorry, I was dropping off. I was dropping off there. So that's quite a fun example. And then in the course, that is kind of integrated into the story. So it's not just like I've explained it there. It's, you have the story where you hear the example in a bigger context, and then you see it and you think, okay, now that makes more sense. Whereas when you just explain, it's a bit kind of monotonous, perhaps sometimes. If you've got there's over 500,
So,
yeah.
so the flies dropping off or integrated into the same story with one character, is that,
Yeah, so
or
kind
are
of,
they,
yeah, so
or the
drop
500 verbs are actually just all one big story?
they're all kind of integrated. So how it's formed is that you've got 44 different lectures, 44 different stories. So each story has its own lecture. And the lecture is based on a verb. So, for example, it starts off with be, the verb be, and then all the phrasal verbs that are associated with the verb be are, well, most of them are integrated into that story. And there's four kind of imaginary lives that go through the course. So you've got John, Hannah, Tina, and Mark, and their lives all intertwine towards the end. I won't say too much, give away the story. But each lecture, each story is about one person in particular, and it uses, loads and loads and loads of phrasal verbs based on one verb. And of course, other ones kind of appear and just happen naturally, and that's fine. I've let them happen when they happen naturally, because that's the whole point of phrasal verbs. They're so natural that you want to hear them in these natural situations.
Cool. So
Yeah.
this is which platform is this course on again?
Sorry?
Which platform is this course on?
Where to find the course? Sorry, I couldn't hear that. What was that question?
Yeah, where do you host the course? Which platform
okay. If you go to www.learn.lindsaydoeslanguages.com, and you can find the course on there.
Yes, right? Correct?
That's it. Yeah, that's typed correctly. Absolutely. Yeah.
And how long is the whole course? How long will it take a student to go through the course?
Well, it's completely self-paced, but it depends. If you did it, I'd recommend, one lecture a day, for example. If you did it at that pace, you're talking 6 to 7 weeks. But to allow for a bit of space and to allow for a bit more time to create the stories as well. Because one thing that I really wanted to do is to not just give people something and say, this is how it's done, take this and learn, but to actually encourage people to create their own stories, because that way it's much more memorable. So there's a Facebook group, a dedicated kind of secret hidden Facebook group, where people are encouraged to share their own creations and their own stories using as many phrasal verbs as possible. And so that if you incorporated that, then you could do one a week. So you could make it last about a year, or you could really speed through it and do it, as I say, in sort of 6 to 7 weeks. So yeah, there is a lot in there, and it's, as I say, self-paced. So it's completely up to you how quickly or how slowly you work through it.
Ooh. My next question would be, naturally, so in terms of the different memory techniques, for example, we've got a story method, we have got a locus method, or the Roman room, I have just got people association. So it seems to me that you are basing it on the story method.
Yeah.
Story and association. Yeah. Have you experimented with the locus method itself? Just the sort of the memory patterns.
With the what method? Sorry.
With the memory palace or locus method.
Oh, the memory palace method. Yeah, actually, one time, I don't know if you know Anthony Metivier. Have you heard of him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah.
And I met him in something quite like that.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I listened to I've been on the blog this year doing something called the Language Script Challenge, where I've been just taking a look at and kind of becoming familiar with I think it's altogether 31 different scripts, writing systems, alphabets, and one of them was Greek. And I remember the Greek one. Yeah, it's weird, this talk of memory palaces and remembering things. I remember really, really vividly that I was actually in the bathroom. I was cleaning the bathroom, and I thought, right, I need to do the Greek, I need to clean the bathroom. I'll just do them together. So I was cleaning the bathroom, and I thought there must be a podcast or something, and that came up. So it was this memory palace that it was a podcast that Anthony Metivier had done about memory palaces, and he used the Greek alphabet as an example. So I have used that to learn the Greek alphabet. I couldn't tell you it all now, but because I haven't focused on it, I haven't spent any time, revisiting the memory palace, so to speak. But yeah, I really loved the idea of it. I thought it was a really, really fun way to remember stuff.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just everyone has got their own thing to memory technique, for example. And to me, it's
absolutely.
let's focus on memory fallacies. You focus on the story narrative elements, and my sort of the one that I'm researching and doing is actually based on creating sourcey themes and images to
Hmm.
remember the whole story. So it's slightly more oriented towards guys for all practical purposes. But then is that each one it works, different techniques work for different people. But I suppose at the end of the day, the most important is to create strong emotions with whatever we're trying to remember. That will work. Do you that do you agree with that?
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear that. It's,
Okay.
sorry. Go on. Say again.
Okay. So yeah, I was okay. I was just saying that it seems that there are different techniques practically on how to go about remembering things, but I think the most important thing is as long as we spend time to engage with the materials in an emotional way where emotions are involved, and the things will be remembered.
That's so true. That's so true. I mean, when it's something, very basic, like this kind of starter words in a language, I feel like that's kind of, for me, like memorize is something that I use probably almost daily, for just vocabulary and this the simple words. But I have something in every language that just does not stick. And like, for example, in Spanish, it's all the basic verbs, all the stuff that you learn from day one with Spanish, all those verbs. Of course, I can do that. It's easy. But when I learn a new verb in Spanish, it just does not stay in my brain. And I really have to put it into context. I have to conjugate it and I have to see it in a sentence for it to actually have a chance of going in my brain. With French, I find that it's not the same thing. It's not verbs in French. It's like kind of the longer things like the longer phrases, things like with coup, with the word coup, stuff like that. And so all these slightly different aspects with different languages. And I don't know why. I don't know why it's not just, oh, verbs are hard to remember, or nouns are always really difficult. But different languages, different things just don't stick. So, but yeah, I think when it comes to stuff like that, so like when it comes to Spanish verbs, something like creating a story is something that would really help for me. So it is all about just finding what works for you and for what purpose as well. It's not just a case of, oh, I need to write a story to remember everything. Not necessarily. If that doesn't work, then you're wasting your time. But I think the story thing, it does have a really long lasting effect, because if you take the time to
Okay,
sit down and create, yeah.
yeah. So let's go back to maybe Japanese. It's a language that sees your heart right
Yeah.
now. Do you find any words that which are difficult for you to remember?
um
Have you tried to remember any words in particular, or is not?
I think the thing probably with Japanese is that I want to learn to speak it, of course, but I also, to me, the kind of reading and writing is quite important. um because not necessarily because I'm going to use it, but just because I like the idea of being able to pick up a Japanese book or a Japanese leaflet somewhere and just have an idea of what it says, and to understand that. That to me is part of what I want to do with that language in particular. So for me at the moment, I would say that the kanji is kind of the thing. So it's not necessarily particular vocabulary or particular words, but just the idea of, okay, I can remember this word, I can remember that word, but what's the kanji for it? I would say that right now is kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. So for me, my take is that I've also tried to use I've tried experiments with the various um, memory techniques to teach people who are from a non-kanji background to remember kanji. For example, the most typically, yeah, how do you write the kanji for para, which is rose? That is considered one of the more difficult ones. So I sort of broke down the characters into a story, which is quite saucy, and then the guy remembered it after weeks later, and he was just writing the exam for the sake of it. And so yeah, I think some sort of memory techniques can also be used. Have you tried?
Mm,
Have you tried?
I haven't yet.
Pick one. Pick one. We can go with one if you prefer. It's my favorite topic recently.
Okay.
So some deepest memories, or just pick any word, or just pick the most difficult one, and then we can try. We can do it on the slide. If it doesn't work out that well, then I'll edit it out.
Okay. Okay. What? So you want me? You want me to pick a kanji?
Yeah. Or I can pick one. Or you pick one. I pick one. I'll let you pick one. You can pick one in a few seconds. I'll pick a random one. And
Okay.
then I will then try to do it on MS
Okay then. I know that the very first one that comes to mind, because this is the first one in the course that I'm doing on Memrise at the minute, is aka, red aka.
Okay.
And again, I remember the word, but the kanji, if I saw it, I'd know, but you know.
Okay. So it's putting me on the spot. So it's I've never done. You know what? It's quite funny now that putting me on the spot. I actually almost forgotten about that. Okay.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. See now I.
Okay. Let me just verify.
Yeah. See now I see it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. See now I see it. I'm like, of course.
Yeah, it's right. Do you have it on? Do you have it in the book?
I can see it. Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, there was some lag, so let me just close up the thing. Oh, I think obviously the lag later. Is it okay? I think it's correct, Kanji.
I think that's the one.
Yeah. So, okay, it's something that I have never done, but then just make some random stories out of it. So, it's just how my mind works. So you mentioned the topic is like a cross. So Red Cross is a very noble organization. It's easy to remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Red Cross is obviously an organization on Earth. So this is just a line for the ground. And then yeah, we want Red Cross is rooted on the principle to have as many people as possible. So imagine it's ground and this is the root. And then the root is obviously also going sideways. And then for some bizarre reason, let's say the shoe company Nike is sponsoring Red Cross. So there's a story that was created out in there. And so let's try again. So we've got Red Cross being the organization rooted on the principle to help as many people as possible. Its outreach is to the left and to the right, to the west and to the east, and it has recently been sponsored by Nike. So if you look away and try and draw the character yourself, does that work for you?
Okay, let me try. Okay, so Red Cross, and then the straight line underneath, and then going down on both sides and out and out. Cool.
Great. So this project that I'm thinking about to do, maybe I'll do actually going further in my mind. With this, my mind is quite wacky, so I can come up with stories like this very easily. So, yeah, I've tried many examples with one French guy when I was studying in Tokyo. So, yeah, maybe I'll do my own series as well.
Yeah, I will try. I will try.
I have talked about 9 science projects already, but okay. So, yeah, the point is, I feel that this one works because it's a lot of the whole thing that I was trying to do was evoke a lot of emotions. Red Cross is I chose Red Cross because it's an organization which evokes a lot of emotions, and then I chose a brand Nike, which also evokes a lot of emotion because it's a good brand. Although they are better shoes, okay. Personally, I think the Asics shoes are better. Um,
Hello? Hello?